Hello and welcome to the news at 1. I'm Anyala Balogun. Nigeria and the Kingdom of Spain have signed 9 agreements and memorandum of understanding in critical economic sectors aimed at deepening and expanding their highly beneficial relations between the two countries. This is the outcome of President Muhammadu Buhari's state visit to Spain, the first since coming to power. Details shortly. The Federal Executive Council this Wednesday received the report on the first quarter gross domestic product status from the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. This was at the Council's meeting held at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. State House correspondent Chidi Onifade reports that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo chaired the meeting.
As Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed says the report shows that the Nigerian economy has grown by 3.1% in the fourth quarter of 2022, compared to a growth of 0.51% in the fourth quarter of last year.
This growth shows a gradual economic stability from the recession that we witnessed in 2020, and also shows it shows the sixth quarter of positive growth that the Nigerian economy has presented.
The minister explains this further.
Even though there has been growth in some sectors, there are significant contraction in others, but the net effect is a positive growth. We're very mindful of the fact that unless we have most of the sectors growing, especially the growth in the jobs impacting sectors, that this growth that is positive will not be directly felt by the people.
Minister Zainab Ahmed says the ministry briefs the council that inflation is on the rise again, which has given the authority concern.
The council has decided to set up a special effort to look at the sectors that are not growing and also to look at how we can grow the other sectors better. The council has also decided that the National Food Security Council will very quickly meet to address the issue of food security, inflation, and also provide a plan and some methods in which we can reduce the cost of food to support improved food prices for the citizens.
In the State House, Chidi Onifade, NTA News.
The National Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says the Commission will not compromise in the conduct of a credible and acceptable governorship election in Ekiti State come June 18th. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who gave the assurance during the meeting with the traditional rulers, also announced that the Ekiti East constituency won by election will be conducted alongside the governorship election on June 18th. Tayo Shaw reports.
Realizing the roles and influence of traditional rulers on their subjects, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, visited the traditional rulers to intimate them on the Commission's determination to conduct a credible governorship election come June 18th. The chairman commended the traditional rulers for their fatherly role, which has made the atmosphere calm compared to previous elections, and urged them to continue in the same manner. The INEC boss informed them that all arrangements are in top gear, as the Commission will not leave anything to chance, with the assurance that the Commission will conduct a free, fair and credible governorship election in Ekiti State.
We are going to take steps jointly with the ICPC and the EFCC to ensure that this sad trend of using money to bribe voters does not mar the Ekiti election.
Chairman Council of Traditional Rulers in Ekiti State, Oba Gabriel Adejumo, Onisho of Ishon Ekiti, and others expressed appreciation to the Commission on its efforts at ensuring that more voters are registered, and pledged to continue to talk to their subjects on the need to give peace a chance before, during and after the election. INEC's boss also met with the security agencies in the state behind closed doors to fine-tune security arrangements for the election. In Ado-Ekiti, Tayo Osho, NTA News.
In related development, voters' inducement in Nigeria's democracy is a phenomenon. However, electoral malpractice and misconduct of all kinds, such as ballot snatching, violent selling of permanent voters' cards, as well as multiple voting, have recently assumed an appalling dimension that threatens the survival of the nation's body politic. Olajide Bello in this report examines the implication of the brazen inducement of delegates in the last political party's primary elections.
In Nigeria, for several decades now, especially in the last 20 years, democracy has been subverted as a result of poor democratic culture and other vices that have desecrated the nation's electoral system. Electoral misconduct has not only marred the nation's democracy, but has further violated human rights and worsened the peaceful coexistence of the citizens.
It is not a new phenomenon, but it is getting worse. Unfortunately, because even the populists now see such exercise as a means to get rich, forgetting that it is a means to greater progress for the country.
Are anti-corruption agencies living up to expectations?
I believe they are not doing enough. Because if they're going to do enough, their work will start not before the primaries. But once a candidate declares his intention and starts purchasing funds, you have to investigate their source of income. What is their net worth?
Abdul Latif Ahmed, a journalist, speaks on his experience while covering some party primary in Kwara State.
What we have seen over the years is that political process or seeking political office has become a business venture.
It's a pointer that we are yet to get it right at this jet age, when people should be chosen based on their ability to deliver, not on the monetary power you have.
The likes of Abdul Latif believe that the basic reason for holding an election in any society is to allow the people to make their choices and determine who superintend over the affairs of the state. But unfortunately, the political gladiators in Nigeria have hijacked this process, thereby leading to imposition of unpopular candidates through several unlawful means. From all indicators, the best cannot emerge from this process, and that also carry their consequences on the integrity of the political class. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Still on electoral process, for Nigeria's democracy to be further strengthened, political parties must deepen internal democracy by ensuring transparency in the election of candidates in its primaries. Joel Popola reports that these are the views of stakeholders at the recently concluded APC primaries in Ijebu-Ode.
Primary election is the first litmus test aspirants have to undergo, and this could be a daunting task at times, especially amid the hordes of aspirants jostling for the few available positions. The delegates are saddled with the responsibility of deciding the fate of aspirants, which makes their verdict very germane. The primary election of the APC was not devoid of the initial argument, synonymous with internal democracy and the spirit of sportsmanship when the winner is finally announced. The lessons, according to some of the stakeholders, are numerous.
What I will say is that there is no winner. Our party has won, and it's victory for all of us.
Those that didn't emerge, they should have faith, and have trust. By next coming one, they will try, to be among the best.
There's always the process of healing, where all aspirants are brought together and made to forget what has happened. And the language usually is no victor, no vanquished. And I'm sure that will be done. And then the party will come. You can be sure that the party will come out much stronger.
The preponderance of aspirants, observers agreed, is the beauty of democracy. The consensus is for every aspirant to rally around the party's candidate to ensure victory in the 2023 general election. In Ijebu-Ode, Joel Ukmola, NTA News.
The low level of women participation in politics in Nigeria over the years, as well as their minimal leadership roles in critical policy decision-making in the country, is said to be a fallout of the cultural and religious beliefs which set limitations to women emancipation. To change this narrative, however, women are encouraged to support each other towards the realization of active involvement in politics. In this report, Omokende Ibari takes a look at the political history of women in politics, achievements and challenges in Oyo State. Her report is here presented.
From Global Gender Gap Report ranking on women political participation, Nigeria is worse off in 2019, recording 102nd position compared to 9 years ago when it was ranked 99th worldwide. This is a growing concern to Nigerian women. The underrepresentation of women constitutes a serious democratic deficit which undermines the legitimacy of the contemporary democratic ideal. Parity democracy and the promotion of women in decision-making positions are therefore important areas of action that implies equal representation of women and men in decision-making policies.
They should please give us our right. They should consider women in every position, in all spheres of life. We can do it.
In Oyo State at the moment, out of 33 lawmakers at the State House of Assembly, only one is on board, while the executive cabinet constitutes less than 5% of women. Adepeju Eson is a one-time lawmaker at the Oyo State House of Assembly between 1999 and 2003. An educationist and a farmer, she has experienced the rigorous trend and chances of women in Nigerian politics based on her experience in the hallowed chamber of the 5th Assembly in Oyo State, and says women need to be productive in the society.
It was interesting because I was able to go out and share the thoughts of others that hitherto I wouldn't have met. You know that I was about to go into politics. We were there, we have 29 men, we were just 3 women. It wasn't easy for us to say, okay, this is what I have in mind to do for my people. You must go through them first. We call it lobbying. You must learn to lobby. Even when you are in the majority, you still have to lobby. Not to talk of when you are in the minority. You lobby your men, you let them know that they are still great, they are still to be pampered and all that, so that you might achieve success. And of course, to the glory of God. Even though we did all that, and I did personally, but our men were so wonderful. They did not relate to us as if we were women, as if we belonged to the other gender. We were just all legislators.
It is, however, on record that many men today align with fairness-minded feminism. Such men can be counted as partners in progress with women of...
In the judiciary, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has granted permission to the detained Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCP Abeokuta, to file more evidence against a suit by the federal government seeking to extradite him to United States of America for a trial in criminal charge. Justice A. Ekwo granted the request of query made through his lead counsel, Nurini Jimo San, in a motion on notice. Jimo San, while arguing the motion on notice, prayed the court to allow his carry bring additional documentary exhibits to establish his innocence in the charges against him. The prosecution counsel, Pius Akuta, however, vehemently opposed the granting of the request. Akuta predicted his opposition on the ground that it was an attempt to cure deficiencies in the earlier documentary evidence adduced by the detained DCP Carey. In a brief ruling, Justice Ekwo rejected the objection of the prosecution and granted permission to Carey to adduce further documentary exhibits to show his defense. The judge said that the court would have ample opportunity to determine the probable value to be attached to the additional evidence. The Nigerian Army says allegation that troops are complicit in the recent kidnap incident of the Methodist prelate in Abia State is false. A statement by the spokesperson, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, says while the Nigerian Army expresses concern and sympathy for the victim of the heinous crime and share in his pains, the insinuation that troops are complicit in the kidnap incident is not premised on any findings. The statement adds that given the spate of insecurity in the region, the question would be, was the issue reported to the unit covering the area? that the Methodist Church take the army into confidence while negotiating the ransom with the kidnappers. It further states that no formal complaint has been received by the unit. More worrisome is the fact that it was alleged that the ransom was paid in less than 24 hours, and that was the ransom paid to troops. It says these are questions that beg for answers. The army adds that the unit has not received any debrief from the prelate of the Methodist Church. It is therefore important to state that troops are deployed at Forward Operating Base FOB Okigwe and in front of the Abia State University, Uturu, and no information was made available to them or to 14th Brigade or any other formation except the information making the rounds in the social media, while adding that troops deployment in the Nigerian Army is not done with consideration for ethnic affiliation. Nigeria, others face high risk of food crisis as debt servicing may curb 100% of federal government revenue by 2026. Details in a business news segment.
Nigeria and 44 other countries around the world are severely exposed to the Ukraine war-induced food crisis. A study by Boston Consulting Group, a global management consulting firm, has shown. According to reports, the affected countries, which were concentrated in Africa, South Asia, and Latin America, were hotspots around the world as they endured some of the worst effects of the crisis. The International Monetary Fund has warned that debt servicing may go up 100% of the federal government's revenue by 2026 if the government fails to implement adequate measures to improve revenue generation. The IMF resident representative to Nigeria, Ari Asen, disclosed this while presenting the Sub-Saharan African Regional Economic Outlook report in Abuja. According to him, based on a microfiscal stress test that was conducted on Nigeria, interest payment on debt may wipe up the country's entire earning in the next 4 years. That's it on Business News. It's over to you, studio.
His much anticipated new album, More Love, Less Ego, as Davido called for urgent action to reverse rising exchange of Naira to $1. Details in our entertainment news segment with Oluwase Adelaye.
The globally recognized superstar Wizkid shared that the coming body of his work, which will serve as his official fifth studio album, will be released on August 5, 2022. In his post on Instagram, Wizkid also gave credit to some musicians who worked with him on the album, mentioning the likes of Naira, suspected to be Naira Marley, Skepta, Hyra Star, T.Y. $, Buju, and Flame. Wizkid appreciated them for their contributions to the project. Veteran Hollywood actress Ninehedo has spoken about her experience as a mother. The mother of one spoke in an interview with fellow actress Lillian Afegbaye, where she noted that motherhood has taught her that she could actually love someone else more than herself. Lastly, popular Nigerian singer Davido has taken to social media to call for urgent actions towards reversing the rise in the rate of Naira and dollar. Davido on his Twitter handle cried out that drastic action needs to be taken before $1 hits 1,000.
That concludes the news at 1. I'm Anyala Balogo. Good afternoon.